Hi everybody, Will Angerman Outdoors here. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my top winter fishing baits. These are going to be baits that you can either drag really slow across the bottom, or you can get a nice reaction strike from those bass out of it. Here are going to be my top winter fishing baits. My first favorite winter bait has got to be the jerkbait. These work really well for suspended bass and bass that are more active than other days, especially when it's warm. I like to fish these with the twitch pause, and especially with these Rapala jerkbaits. When you pull them really hard, they'll go about 180 degrees around, and that just makes bass want to bite a little bit more sometimes. My favorite brands of jerkbaits are definitely Mega Bass, Lucky Craft, and Rapala. So I hope that you guys will try and use these jerkbaits this winter, and hopefully they'll produce a lot of fish for you. My second favorite winter bait is going to be the tube. These work really well dragged across the bottom, especially when it's kind of gravel, sand, some mud. These work really well, especially up north for you smallmouth anglers, even though you might have ice right now. I like to rig them like this. This is how a lot of people rig them. You stick this into the tube. It's a little tougher sometimes. Stick the head of the jig head up into the tube. You just work it in there until you get near the head of the tube. Then what you do, you just kind of pop the eye of the jig right there. So this is going to be my second favorite winter fishing bait. My third favorite winter bait is the Lipless crankbait. These work really well, kind of yo-yoed across the bottom or at a steady retrieve. Depending on which brand you get, sometimes they'll run like this, and that works really well around grass and cover, especially when there's a lot more of the dying grass in the winter. And I like these in red, white, and chrome. So these work really well on warmer days in the winter, and I suggest that you pick some of these out. My favorites are the Bill Lewis Rattle Trap and the Strike King Red Eye Shad. My next favorite winter bait is going to be the square bill crankbait. These work really well, and these are a necessity, especially if you fish a lot around rocky ponds, riprap, and stump fields. These work super well to get a reaction bite, especially with those bass hanging around some of the cover. And my favorite colors are either sunfish and bluegill colors from Strike King, and more blue-backed and white and sexy shad colored for other square bills. My favorite brands are Strike King, Excite, and Lucky Craft. That is my next favorite winter fishing bait. The next favorite winter fishing bait that I have personally is the Shaky Head. I know a lot of guys don't really like to fish these, especially if they don't like finesse fishing, but these will produce fish for you when you have tough bites all year long. I like to fish them on kind of a football head because they'll stand up like this a little bit more, and they won't just kind of lay down on their sides with the ball-headed jigs. And I like to fish straight-tail worms with these, sometimes craws, and brush hogs and other creature bait like baits. I like to fish these around rocks, riprap, stumps, really anywhere where you know there are fish. These will really help you get bites when they're really finicky. And with these, you'll want to expose them with extra wide gap hooks that are on your shaky heads. And VMC is my favorite brand for these because they're some of the only people that make them, and they're some of my favorite hooks. Another favorite winter fishing bait of mine has got to be the finesse jig. These work really well in green pumpkin, black, and blue. The clearer water you have, the more you're going to want a green pumpkin color. But with these, they have to have really thin skirts, and it'll help you make your presentation a little bit smaller in the winter because those bass won't want to eat as much. And you're going to want a weed guard on these because you're going to be fishing really tight to cover since it's a little bit warmer than everything, and stuff like wood and rocks hold heat. So that'll work really well, and the bass will be right around there. So you're going to want to fish with one of these during the winter. My last favorite winter fishing bait is the drop shot. You want a little weight like that, and you'll want a really small profile bait, maybe 3 or 4 inches long. Soft plastics work the best on this. Sometimes really small Kytex and paddle tails will be your best friend on these, especially when the bass are a little bit bigger. You're going to want to fish these with long drop shot weights or ball drop shot weights, and you're going to want a really small hook, size 1 or smaller, maybe size 2, and those will work really well and produce a lot of fish for you in the winter. Thank you guys so much for watching. I had a lot of fun making this video. I'm really trying to grow right now. I'm going to upload a lot more frequently, and I really want you guys to get out there and go fishing some more, especially since it's winter. Even though you might freeze your butt off, it's going to be a lot of fun. If you use those baits, you're going to catch a ton of fish. Thank you guys for watching. Willing and Outdoors. See you next time.